Good morning and welcome to the campus of the University of Pikeville. I want to our local people, thank you for getting out this early this morning and learning more about a very worthwhile project that's operating in our community. For those of you that are visiting, perhaps maybe for the first time, I hope you appreciate the beauty of the mountains this morning and this little community of Pikeville. I want you to know that here at the University of Pikeville, you're in the facility of our College of Optometry, and I want you to know that this is the most modern and up-to-date College of Optometry in the United States and in the world for that matter. So if you have a time after this program is over, if you want to walk through the facilities downstairs, you'll see some of the most sophisticated technology for eye care that you'll find anywhere in the world. So again, we're here this morning to talk about Goodwill Industries, a charity that I've known about for a long time. I've always known that with Goodwill you can take your used clothing and maybe other household goods that you no longer need and need to get rid of, and rather than throwing them in the garbage or doing something else, you can give them to Goodwill and they will remarket them and reuse those, recycle those products and give them a longer useful life. And I knew that part of it. But what I didn't know was that the main purpose of Goodwill is to help people that have had difficulty getting into the workforce to give them some training and experience and job learning skills that helps them get into the workforce. And so we've got several officials from Goodwill Industry in Kentucky that's going to explain more about the program and invite the people that are here at the University of Pikeville and the people that might watch us on Pike TV an opportunity to learn more about what opportunities you have to hire people that have been fairly intensively trained in work skills, and to help a charity by disposing of some of your excess personal goods that you perhaps can take a tax break on. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to the officials of Goodwill of Kentucky. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Governor Patton, and thanks to all of you all for joining us today. My name is Lori Collins, and I'm the Vice President of Program Services for Goodwill Industries of Kentucky. Before we get started, I want to ask Jordan Gibson with the Southeast Kentucky Chamber to come up. Jordan has helped us organize the event, and we just want to give him the opportunity to share a few words. Jordan.
So thank you everyone again for being here today. Thank you for joining us this morning and starting your day off with us. I'm happy to be here in support of Goodwill and support of Goodwill's mission. I think most of the organizations in our area are proud to support what they do. The Chamber, University of Pikeville, it's all about empowering individuals and families and helping to build a better community and a better workforce. So we're happy to be part of that. In fact, Goodwill, most of the stores in this region, they've been a member with the Southeast Kentucky Chamber for about 6 years now. Now we've got a little bit of a reorganization. Goodwill Industries of Kentucky has recently come in. Some of those stores used to be with out of Huntington, but we're happy to have another partner coming into this community and being more involved. Just a few months ago when Ben first came out to speak with me, it was really exciting to see some more organizations coming into this area, trying to step up and be a leader into helping to develop more resources for our community. So I'm happy to have more partnerships and happy to have you here. So Lori, thank you, and Amy, thank you.
Next, I want to ask Josh Ball with SOAR to come up and say a few words. I'm sure you're all familiar with SOAR, and we're happy to be able to partner with them on a few things. Josh?
Good morning, everyone. It's a little early. I'm not used to this early meetings, but it's great to be in Pikeville this early this morning without any snow. That was a little bit of a worry last night, but Goodwill just does good things. That's when I was meeting with Ben and Lori. You know, when it gets to the crux of things, you know, we have a population of people that sometimes are perceived as being the most vulnerable. But vulnerable is just like a lot of terms. It's what you make of it. Goodwill makes them vulnerable to opportunities and helping folks. Goodwill's really a champion for people and communities and the betterment of just humanity in general. And that's really at the crux of what SOAR is. We believe unequivocally that there's a future in Appalachia. And, you know, you're standing in a room and you just heard from a visionary that you know, a lot of people said a lot of things couldn't happen here, and it's happened, and it's happened because the faith and the grit and the determination of people. And I see Jonathan in the room and the folks from App Harvest. That's just another example. And we're really in the midst of Appalachia's finest chapter. And it's not because of SOAR. It's not because of one specific entity. It's because we're all sitting around the table symbolically today working towards one common goal, and that's a brighter tomorrow for everyone that wants one. And I think that's what Goodwill is all about. We're proud to be a part of that, and we look forward to our continued partnership in any way that we can help. And again, on behalf of Jared and all of our team at SOAR, thank you for being in Pikeville today, and we look forward to working with everyone to build a brighter tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. We appreciate that. So we do these events. They're called Story Behind the Stores, and we do that for a couple of reasons. One, most of you all are probably familiar with our stores and have supported us in some way by giving us your donations or shopping in the stores. But as Governor Patton mentioned, there's a story behind that. We have a mission, and that is to reduce poverty through the power of work. And so we do these events throughout Kentucky to share that story. So I'm going to ask our CEO, Amy Luttrell, to come up and share a little bit about that with you all.
Thank you, Lori. Well, I feel like I should be kind of wandering around among the tables here, but I think I'm supposed to be tethered to this mic, so just pretend like I'm a little bit closer and coming in among you. I really appreciate everybody coming out this morning. We spent the night last night, so we'd be sure to be here on time, and we were told people in Pikeville like to start early, so I don't know. Maybe most of them do, or a lot of them do. But we're very happy to be here. So one of you mentioned, Goodwill of Kentucky has not been in Pike County for very long. This county was traditionally, for many years, part of the territory of the Goodwill that's based in Huntington, West Virginia. And so just a little over a year ago, we traded counties with them. They wanted Carter County, which was closer to Huntington. And so they were willing to give us, which was ours, and they were willing to give us Pike County in exchange for that. So it's pretty hard to get territory lines changed. You got to have it approved by our national office. That's one of the things that they do. They guard those territory lines. But we were both in agreement, and we went to them and said, this is what we want to do, and they said, okay. So we had not really we hadn't done anything at all in Pikeville. I'd never even been to Pikeville. But of course, we were happy to have Pikeville because we know, I had already heard, and all of us had heard, that there's a lot going on in Pikeville. So because we're so new to the area, it hasn't been part of our territory, we have not really been part of the community. We inherited a store, and it's really in Coal Run Village. But other than that, we haven't really brought services to Pikeville as we would like to do. And we look forward to doing that. Lori talked about our story behind the stores, and even communities that don't have a Goodwill store, that's kind of a household name, like Kleenex, or everybody kind of knows what that is. but people don't know. Sometimes they don't even know if Goodwill is a nonprofit because, you know, we're a retailer right in there with other retailers, and they just don't understand, and they usually have no idea what our mission is. But a couple of people have already said that, and our mission is really to help people who have barriers and haven't worked regularly to become a part of the workforce so that they can make their lives better. And we have a variety of services to help us do that. I want to address a couple of questions that I think will help you understand more about Goodwill. And the first one is, why do we have stores? Why does a nonprofit with that mission that I've just been talking about have stores? What does one have to do with the other? Well, our stores are an invaluable tool for us to help us carry out our mission. And without our stores, we would be able to do much less than what we actually do. The key is our stores create jobs. So statewide, and we have 103 out of Kentucky's 120 counties. Statewide, we have between 1,200 and 1,300 tax-paying employees. And most of those employees have backgrounds that have made it difficult for them to work at times. They may have a disability of some kind, such as a physical impairment or a mental health issue or addiction, or they may have other things in their background, such as a criminal record or a lack of education and skills that have made it hard for them to work. And what we offer at Goodwill is not just jobs, because these days, you know, there's a lot of jobs, but we offer what I call Employment Plus. And that means that we offer services to help people work through life issues and work issues that may derail their success and cause them not to be able to keep their job. So we have, let's see, we have Robbie in here, so, yeah, right here in the front. We have a staff, that's his job, is to assist people with those kinds of issues. And we have a staff of people in those positions with that purpose all over the state. So we know that people have to be able to work consistently in order to make their lives better. It doesn't do much good if you work for 30 days, 90 days, or 6 months, and then you go back home, you know, and you don't have an income coming in again. So our goal is to help people work consistently and then get on a career track and move up so that they can have the kind of life that they would like to have. And for many people, Goodwill is a place to start. And we want them to either move up within our company or to move out into another company on that career track and help them to do that so that they can make more money. I get out and visit a lot of our stores, so I drive all over the state, and so do many of our staff. My office is in Louisville, but we just go all over our territory because that's a big part of our job. So when I go to our stores, I always meet interesting people. And I usually like to ask them, if they haven't been with Goodwill very long, what were you doing before you came to Goodwill? And I get a lot of insight into our employees' lives by doing that. Just last week, I met a woman. When I asked her that question, she said, well, I was living a different kind of life. So I said, to encourage her, well, we have a lot of people who could say that. And then she said, well, I'm 10 months sober. I was homeless, alcoholic, on the streets. So now I'm living with family again, and I have shared custody with my daughter. I go to AA meetings, and my daughter goes with me, and she's proud of me. And I want to be a team leader here. So I hope she will be a team leader, but she may not be. It may be better for her to go another direction, but we will help her do that. So most employers, that's not really their job to get rid of their employees that are doing well and help them on to something better, but it is our job. It is our job. And many times when I ask that question, people will say things like, well, this is my first job. Or they'll say, nobody would hire me. I couldn't find a job. Or they'll say, I was in prison. So we have people with all those kinds of backgrounds, and many times they're able to succeed at Goodwill where they have not been able to succeed before. So those are our employees. So that's why we have stores as a nonprofit. They create jobs, and they also make money. They're the only thing we do that makes money, and we use that money to fund that Employment Plus that I was talking about and other services that we have. So the second question I want to deal with, the first was, why do we have stores? So here's the second question. Probably a lot of people out here are on Facebook. So you may be thinking, didn't I see on Facebook that the Goodwill CEO makes millions of dollars and Goodwill doesn't help anybody and don't give to them? That's out there, and it's the think before you buy or before you donate hoax. Goodwill is not the only charity that's slammed by that email. We are in there with March of Dimes, Red Cross, United Way, and UNICEF. So there's 5 charities, and they say similar things about each one. In Goodwill's case, they say, well, Mark Curran owns Goodwill. Well, nobody owns a nonprofit. The communities own a nonprofit. And Mark Curran, I think his salary is up to $2.3 million, and they don't help anybody. So I'm Goodwill of Kentucky CEO, and I'm not Mark Curran, right? And the head of Goodwill International is not Mark Curran, and he doesn't make $2 million. And there is not a Mark Curran that runs any of the 160 Goodwills in North America, and there never has been. Mark Curran is a fictional character. So in today's terminology, this is fake news. But a lot of people see that, and they say, well, I'm not giving anything to Goodwill because they don't help anybody, and they're not even a nonprofit. So you can help us a lot by spreading the news. And if you want to confirm what I'm saying, you can go to Snopes.com. That's one of those websites that tries to make a distinction between the fake news and the accurate news. So they have debunked that email, but it goes on and on. It's been out there for a number of years, and we just deal with that so much that I just decided to deal with it proactively, because I'm sure some people in the audience have seen that. So please help us to spread the news. There's no Mark Curran, and we do our best to help as many people as we possibly can and to have an impact on their lives. So I've told you that we hire a lot of people in our stores and throughout the company who need a chance to show what they can do and a place to start. But you also need to know that we help people get jobs with other community employers. In fact, those numbers would far exceed the number who go to work at Goodwill, because we only have so many jobs, and for the state of Kentucky, 1,300 may be a lot, but it's not a lot for the state of Kentucky. So we really help more people get jobs with other employers than at Goodwill. We also have a service to assist people who get Social Security disability benefits, and there's a lot of people in Kentucky who get that. There are a lot of work incentives. They're hard to understand because the federal government has come up with them, and they're confusing, and so people are afraid of them. And they say, well, I can't work, or I can only work 10 hours a week because I don't know. So we have staff who, in the whole eastern half of the state, that's their job. They've got a lot of training, and their job is to help people understand those work incentives and to be able to use those so that they can go out and work or work more. We are not a nonprofit that delivers survival type services like food or shelter. We know that there is a need for those kinds of services. Many people get in crisis situations, and that's what they need. We concentrate on helping people get into a position where they will not need those services any longer. We define self-sufficiency as the time when a person no longer needs any government benefits. And so that's what we're really working to help people achieve, because we know that's what people really want. That's what people really want in their lives, so they don't have to rely on those things. So I've been with Goodwill for a long time, so I might be a little bit prejudiced, but I think there's a lot to like. In the first place, we take the things that you don't want anymore. We keep most of those things out of the landfill. We get them out of your closets. We give you a tax receipt, and we put those things to work. We reuse those in the reduce, recycle, reuse. We're big on the reuse part of that. And that amounts in Kentucky, in our counties, to over 50 million pounds every year of stuff that's going to be reused instead of going to the landfill. Secondly, we have a great value. We've got all kinds of customers. We have customers who need to be frugal because they don't have much money. Then we have other customers who are bargain hunters, and they're in it for the thrill of the hunt. We have customers who are coming in to buy and resell because they think they can find things in our stores that they're going to be able to sell at a higher price in another venue, and they're correct. We have a lot of people that do that. We welcome all customers. They all are supporting our mission. But third, and most importantly, those clothes and those household goods are turning into opportunities for some of your neighbors to be able to get another chance and build a better life. So we think that's a pretty good deal out of a bunch of stuff that you didn't want anymore. So what's in store for Pikeville? You probably don't really care what we're doing in Louisville. And like I said, we have not really become part of the Pikeville community yet, but we look forward to doing that. Our mode of operation these days, as we're expanding services in a community, is to link up with partners. And I've heard even just this morning a lot about how you're already doing that with each other, and that community spirit that's driving that and helping you guys make so much progress. So that's what we're doing right now. We are in the process of becoming members of SOAR, and we are certainly hoping to have a relationship, trying to figure out the best way to do that with addiction recovery care. We have relationships statewide with the community action agencies. But that's what we're doing right now, is in Pike County and other parts of the state, seeking partners of other nonprofits, educators, employers who want to work with us to promote the success of people who need that help. So just an exploration process. It takes a while. I don't know what services will look like exactly for us here in Pikeville, but they will definitely have to do with helping people become part of the workforce, because that's who we are. That's why we want to partner with others who do things we don't do, but that the people we serve also need. So the work part is what we focus on, and we have a lot of history in doing that, and I think we can do a good job of it. You've got at your table a handout called "I Had No Idea," and you can probably guess why we called it that, because some of you might be thinking this morning, well, I had no idea. So that's why we called our flyer that. It includes some information that I have not included this morning, so I really hope that you'll take that with you and look through that. We've tried to make it really easy to read, and on the back it has our pitch to employers. You know, we're looking for employer partners, and we think we have a pretty good deal to offer from our end for the right employer. So that's our employer pitch. But please take a look at this, and in the bottom left-hand corner it lists some ways that you can help. But I'll just tell you, the ways that you can help most of you the most, please bring us your bags of clothes and your household items. I know there are different things you can do with those, but that is what fuels our organization and allows us to serve as many people as we do, is those bags of clothes and household items. And secondly, please help us spread the word. Please tell people what you're hearing this morning, so that they'll understand, oh, there's more to Goodwill than just that store I see up on 23. That will really help us if you will do that, because I know everybody has their own circle. So we really look forward to becoming part of the fabric of Pikeville and Pike County and seeing what we can all do together to promote the success of this community and the people who live here. Thank you.
So I want to have one more speaker come up. Richard, would you like to come forward? Richard is the assistant manager at our store here in Pike County, and he's going to share a little bit about his story. Robbie, who waved to us earlier, is his career coach. If you want to come up here and stand beside him, because I know sometimes it's kind of daunting being at a microphone, looking out at faces. So if you'll share with the group a little bit about your story and what brought you to Goodwill, we would love to hear it.
Okay.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing today? What brought me to Goodwill is I was looking for a better opportunity. And when speaking to Kathy, my store manager, in the interview, she told me about what Goodwill does. And I knew from that moment on I wanted to work here. Not only work here, but as I progressed through my career here, I wanted to make that my sole career. But as far as what I do on a day-to-day basis is the donations that were mentioned before, we process those with a lot of care, and we price them to make them affordable for people that necessarily can't afford to go to the store, you know, like Walmart or something, and buy that. We price it to where they can afford to get the pots and pans or clothes that they need. One of the best things that I see happening in my store right now is a program that Robbie institutes. It's the tuition reimbursement. We have a total of 5 employees right now that are going to be benefiting from that. And just like it was mentioned before, they're going to be bettering themselves and moving on or moving through Goodwill as well. But that's about it. Do you have anything you want to?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. One final thing to share, and then I'm going to ask Governor Patton to come back up and close us out. For the position of career coach, Robbie will be happy to know this. We've actually added another position for this area that will cover Floyd and Pike counties, and that position is currently open. So on all of the materials you have our website. If you know somebody who's looking for a job, or if coming to work at Goodwill as a career coach is something that interests you, please go to the website and you'll find that job posting. We're excited to get to hire for that position. So, Governor Patton, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you all for being here, the people from Goodwill. I thought it's been a very entertaining program and an informative program. I think, again, a lot of us knew about Goodwill. We knew that it was a place where you could contribute usable products that you don't need and get a tax deduction. We actually knew that you could shop at Goodwill and get some pretty good bargains. But what I didn't know is what's the purpose of all of this. The purpose, the money that they generate by being able to sell your unneeded surplus property, is used to train people to get back into the workforce. And I didn't know that. And, you know, while we realize that there are people in every community that need help, and we want to help them through personal care contributions or through government, ultimately, the ideal solution is to help them get a job and support themselves. And that is what Goodwill is. And that's what the goods that we contribute to them and we buy from them help us contribute to at no cost to the government. So if you're an employer and you're looking for an employee that has had specific training in the what are called soft skills of employment, being reliable, showing up on time, showing up for work, being courteous to people, all of those soft skills that many people don't really think about, that's what Goodwill concentrates on. And as a former employer, I know that once you get a new employee and once you train them to do the job you want to do, you want to keep them. But Goodwill is exactly the opposite. They employ these people that have challenges doing and keeping a job. They invest money in them to make them a reliable and responsible employee, and then encourage them and help them leave the company and get into the regular workforce. So I think that all of us realize that there are people in our community that need our help, and I think we want to do that. So let me encourage you to shop with Goodwill. Let me encourage you to contribute to Goodwill, and you know, you can contribute cash to Goodwill too, because it is a total nonprofit employee, just like the Red Cross and Helping Hand and all these other important organizations that we as a people do to help those that are less fortunate than us. One of the great honors I had as governor of Kentucky was having dinner with Margaret Thatcher, former Prime Minister of Great Britain, one of the greatest women, greatest people of the 20th century. And she said, you know, what's really distinctive about Americans is that they're generous. They're the most generous people in the world. They help people around the world, and they help their neighbors. And you know, when you think about it, I think she's probably right. We do want to help our neighbors, and Goodwill is one of those organizations that can help us do that. So again, thank you for being here today. Thank you for watching on Pike TV, and let's think more about Goodwill. Thank you.